Welcome to another No BS review, where there will be no filler or BS of any kind, just the information you want to know about this vehicle. Thank you to my members for helping support this content. On today's installment, we'll be looking at the T58, a rank 5, battle rating 8.3 pack premium heavy tank in the American tech tree. This pack can be purchased for $50 and comes with 2,000 golden eagles and 15 days of premium. Despite the fact that the T58 uses only conventional cast steel for protection and not any sort of composite, its armor is so thick and heavily sloped that it will grant some degree of effective resistance even against Heat FS and Sabo rounds, especially the turret. When I was playing this vehicle, I noticed that most enemies seem to have a very hard time killing it from the front, which makes sense considering how unusual the armor layout is, so I'm going to spend a bit more time than usual discussing weak spots and where to actually aim to kill this vehicle. The whole armor is mostly the same as the M103, and that means the ammo is sat next to the driver on either side. If you're using Heat FS or darts, these are the spots you want to aim for in order to ammo rack it, and if you're driving this vehicle, this is the reason why you want to stay hull down when possible. If you're firing at this vehicle with conventional APHE, the flattest and therefore thinnest spots are right under the crotch of that star decal, and also the spots on the lower corners of the hull where the hull connects to the suspension. These lower hull spots can be penetrated even by late World War II guns like the Long 88 or the Soviet 122. The last weak spot worth mentioning is that the plate above the driver is only about 25mm thick, meaning even relatively small high explosive shells can overpressure the tank if they hit above this spot. The turret ring can also be a weak spot, but this is a bit unreliable. Moving on to the turret, basically just avoid any area where both parts of the oscillating turret overlap, namely the cheeks. These areas are unbelievably thick and are basically impenetrable to most shells unless you hit it flat on with something incredibly strong. The top part of the turret is also quite heavily angled, though it can be penetrated by most Heat FS and Sabo rounds. The best spot to aim on the entire front of the tank, though, is right under the gun barrel. This spot is a flat 200mm and can be penetrated pretty much by any main caliber shell around this BR. There's also a pretty flat spot right underneath the cupola, which is extremely thin, and this can be abused by vehicles like Gepards and Falcons to APHE this tank frontally with their autocannons. Moving on to side armor, the area with the thinnest armor is actually right above the top of the track. On this spot, the armor is completely flat and can be easily penetrated even by light autocannon fire. One last trick I'll leave you with here is that if you get your crew whittled down to just 2, you can tilt your turret to the right and use the enormous gun breach to shield your gunner from getting killed. If people can't hit your hull, you can easily tank multiple penetrating shots and still survive like this. If that last section made you think that armor was this vehicle's standout feature, well, let me correct you, because its firepower is absolutely ridiculous. For its main armament, the T58 gets an auto-loading 155mm cannon with a 2.6 second reload. Though this vehicle has a few different shells available, my personal recommendation would be the heat shell. This is because the APHE shell doesn't really have very much penetration, and while the Hesh shell can be extremely funny, it has a lot less velocity, and Hesh's spalling effect still doesn't really work right. With heat shells, though, even though the damage can be a bit inconsistent, it will still almost always at least damage something, and it will still have enough explosive filler to overpressure even medium tanks on occasion if you hit them in the correct spot. This tank also has quite good gun handling, with 8 degrees of gun depression and a quite speedy 36 degrees per second of turret traverse. You might be relieved to hear that there's at least some sort of drawback to this vehicle, and that's its mobility. This vehicle only manages a top speed of 22 miles per hour or 35 kilometers per hour with a 13.5 horsepower per ton power to weight ratio. The T58 also has a rather bad reverse gear, allowing it to travel at only 4.2 miles per hour or 7.5 kilometers per hour in reverse. This mobility will definitely prevent you from rushing or flanking too aggressively, but at least it isn't mouse levels of bad. The T58 also comes with an absolutely stacked lineup it can take out, including 3 medium tanks, a light tank, an SPAA, and also a squadron tank destroyer. This should give you a backup vehicle for basically any situation imaginable. In terms of cast, this vehicle gets both a good fighter and attacker option, the F9F8, which gets an enormous rocket loadout, and also the F84F, which can carry multiple 2,000-pound bombs. Do be aware, though, that you'll see a lot of radar-guided SPAA at this BR, so you'll want to be a bit cautious. Honestly, I'd be lying to you guys if I told you there was any particular strategy you had to follow in order to do well with this vehicle. Basically, the strategy is find a large group of enemies and then start mowing them down with your 155mm machine gun. That's it. I would still advise at least a little bit of flanking, but even if you don't do this, your firepower is just so overwhelmingly superior that basically nothing except maybe a T-72 is going to beat you in a head-on gunnery duel. Also, you do have a rangefinder on this thing, so you definitely can snipe in it too, especially against stationary targets. Do be aware, your ammunition is low velocity enough that you can actually arc shots over cover in some instances, so definitely make use of the rangefinders in the binocular mode. Overall, the T58 is just simply cracked and will definitely be going into the OP tier of any future sales tier list I make. It probably has the best firepower relative to its BR of any vehicle in the entire game at the moment, and I love the heat ammo's ability to simultaneously pen right through heavy armor while also being able to overpressure light vehicles. I don't think this will come as a surprise to anyone, but this is an easy 10 out of 10. If you're an American main, forget about the KVT or the clickbait. This is the premium you should buy next time there's a sale. That's gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the playlist in the description for more vehicle reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one.